Hi, Pitch Hoffman here. I think Melania Trump and her husband had coordinated her nice, big, beautiful, wide-brimmed black hat well for what they knew the presidency was going to be. I think I totally understand what's on their mind, and I think we saw clearly at Trump's speech at Davos what that is, and I don't blame him one bit. And I think I have to provide a little context to the optics. So Melania Trump had that cool black hat, and everybody made a lot of comment about it. And I personally loved it. I like that kind of stuff. And she often expresses herself in fashion. And you have to remember, this is a weaponized government that sought to destroy them, even kill President Trump, and destroy her life as well. And she's not one that takes that kind of stuff, takes it very personal, like a normal person would. And here they had the opportunity to return to that office that they were removed from with a coup from our own government. And a lot of the bad characters, the people that come up with COVID, I've talked about it for many years now, the Great Reset people, were in that room at Davos. And I've talked about the desecrators of Davos being one of the greatest threats in the world, the instigators of globalism, creators of COVID, because it all goes back to their doorstep. Because they wanted a great reset. They wanted to get socialists control the entire economy. They've been very bad villains. And then the election fraud was certainly perpetrated to get America back into the Paris Climate Accord, do all the globalism tactics, the tariff issues that Trump was trying to initiate in the world, and they wanted to stop it. So election fraud was there to put a globalist representative in office in the White House, which they did with Biden. A lot of bad things were done. Many people were harmed. Attempted murders occurred. Trump survived several assassination attempts. And here they had a chance to go back to that White House. The people put Trump to be the representative back in charge of the government, and now all the global orders were suddenly in trouble. And if anybody wondered if Trump was going to play nice, I think you just have to see what the optics are of Trump doing the swearing in, Melania Trump holding the Bible. Even if it got messed up a little bit, the swearing in and putting the hand on the Bible, because Roberts was kind of going kind of fast and things were out of sync a little bit. The optics of the Bible, the two Bibles, Trump doing the swearing in, and Melania's beautiful black hat, I think were more than an accident. Very conscious messages going on there. I was very supportive. I think it's a great statement to make to the people of the world who have been up to no good. And as I watched all this go on, I watched that magnificent speech that Trump gave to the World Economic Forum in Davos. I thought of a movie that I really like, and that is High Plains Drifter by Clint Eastwood, one of the first movies he directed early in his career, and he starred in it, and I think that's what Trump's at. I think that's what Trump's thinking about. I think that's what Trump is doing. And when you saw the way all the leaders of the world have pandered to him, including the people who have been now wanting to attach themselves to him, currently the Larry Ellisons and even Elon Musk to some extent, Jeff Bezos, who ran the Washington Post, which essentially was a blog to totally destroy the first Trump administration, and now all of a sudden they're all his friends. And one of the best movies I've ever seen, even in Shakespearean literature, one of the best examples in art that's ever really captured what we're seeing with the second Trump administration and the way that he stood in front of Davos and preached to them how he's going to destroy their entire global order with a smile on his face, and everybody just sat there and took it, and leaving everybody in the world, the media, driven to insanity over the issue. What's happening? Why is this going on? What is Trump doing? And I think the best movie to ever capture what's happening was High Plains Drifter by Clint Eastwood. And in that movie, the town had conspired to kill Sheriff Duncan, and they killed him because they wanted land rights to some gold that was found in the town. where this Western takes place. Really good town, really good movie. And the entire town was in on the killing of the sheriff, so they could get mineral rights to this property and work all these schemes to make things happen. Kind of what's been going on in the entire world, where the world is now this land. The movie takes place in just a town, but I think with Trump, it takes place across the world. And in the movie, Sheriff Duncan was killed, and the town lived with this terrible sin, this terribly dark secret that was haunting them. And the circumstances of the movie start from there. So in rides the stranger, Clint Eastwood, and no one understands what he is, who he is. They just know he's a dominant person, and they want to get his protection from some gunmen that were jailed that were going to come back and get revenge on the town for knowing the insides of what's going on with that scandal. So they want to hire Clint Eastwood to protect him from these bandits. Clint Eastwood, knowing that he's got this town, because they're all guilty and complicit, they'll do anything to seek his attention, and even though they plot and scheme behind his back to destroy him in some way, they want to use him for their own devices to get done what they want done in the world. The movie goes on, very interesting. If you have never seen it, I recommend you see it. But at the end of the movie, you find out that the Clint Eastwood character is Sheriff Duncan. He's a resurrected ghost of the killed sheriff, and he came back to get revenge on the town by exploiting them for all the sins they committed, leaving them completely exposed and destroyed by the end of the film. And he uses their hanging guilt as his weapon. And as I saw Melania Trump holding the Bible there with the swearing in, the optics will never go away, she was quite aware of what her role was in all this. As the First Lady, as a person of very prominent stature, who has had to endure all this nonsense because she's married to the President of the United States, who was part of a coup, part of an exile attempt, a world order trying to destroy the United States as a rival and then take its resources and loot it among themselves, which is exactly what they were doing in Davos. And they were all caught, they were all guilty, and in all those scenes in that movie, High Plains Drifter with Clint Eastwood, the way that people behaved, because they were all a little guilty of some little sin that they knew about, they all knew about, they were all complicit together, they could not act against this stranger. Because the stranger knew, because he was the ghost of Sheriff Duncan. He was a resurrected hellhound sent there to go on a revenge tour to destroy all of them. And he did. By the end of the film, that's the message. He restored justice to the town, and he crushed the enemies with their guilt. And that's exactly what was going on in Davos. One of the most remarkable speeches I think we'll ever see in our lifetimes. You would only have people who know they broke so many laws, created so many bad things, and here comes a resurrected character from their past to shame them with guilt into a sense of justice that they know has long been coming in their direction. And there's nothing they can do to stop it. Now, as far as Trump goes, people say, how could Trump sit there and give that speech? How could he possibly do what he did? I try to keep myself out of these kinds of stories, but I understand what Trump's going through, I think, very well. When you have had people intend to kill you or destroy you, or you've survived near-death experiences, it gives you a sense of the armor of God, which is why I talk about Ephesians so much. When you've been there and you've felt that and done that for yourself, and you have had experience with the armor of God, it tends to give you more conviction in the things you do every day. I remember Daryl Parks from WLW asked me years ago, and I got out in front of all these education topics. It was on the air all the time, fighting against very malicious characters that were up to no good. And he would say to me, what's it like when you go to the grocery store and people see you and you're out, you're a soccer game for somebody? For one of the kids, what's it like? Because people hate you. And I would explain to him, why I did what I did and why I continue to do it. And in not knowing that I know I have the armor of God on me, that I feel well, no matter what I get involved in, I'm going to come out of it pretty fine. And you can see that with Trump. After they took a shot at him, he survived the assassin's bullet, not once, but a couple times. And he lived to win back the seat. He isn't wasting it. And you can certainly see the way Melania Trump picked her attire for that event. That they wanted, they had embraced this role of history and this opportunity at resurrection to bring justice to the world, and she took it very seriously, and he has too. And to stand up there and give that speech is from a perspective of survival, of things that a lot of people don't ever get through. I can say for myself, I've been in at least 3 accidents where any one of them would have killed the participants. One of those high speed, over 100-mile-an-hour accidents where the car flies apart and all the occupants get busted up and pieces of the car are left all over the place. And I'd get up and walk out on my own power and go home and go to bed. As if, I just had a few bumps and bruises. And people wonder how you survive. Not just once, but 3 times. And I've been shot at a lot. I've had a lot of people plot my demise. And it's a really good feeling to go to bed after those plots have been revealed and to have survived. And to know that no matter what you do in life, obviously someone wants you around. Otherwise, the statistics of surviving a lot of these things are just totally improbable. So you get a sense of greater efforts at work. And when you know your role in it is justified, it tends to give you a very bold presumption, which is exactly what I told Daryl Parks from WLW when he asked me that question. No matter what I get involved in, I know the armor of God is going to, as long as you have the courage to do the act, the armor of God will go out of its way to protect you. And when you know the entire world has plotted and schemed against you and tried to get your demise to advance their position, and you catch them, you have a right to rub their faces in it. And President Trump certainly did. I was probably the best. All the pain and suffering that we've all gone through all these years, watching that Davos speech to the World Economic Forum from Trump was worth it. Because the human race took a step in the right direction. And going back to that great film, High Plains Drifter, great, wonderful Clint Eastwood Western, the end of the movie, the Hound that came back as a ghost to bring revenge on this town for all the acts of villainy that they conducted and the unjust murder of the sheriff. He saved the town for the people that were innocent in it. And America's now going through that very same process. And it's ironic that it was an old Western like that most, I think, obviously describes exactly what we're dealing with here. But not just in a town, a little Western town, and some made-up period of American history, but the world, Earth, every country that the World Economic Forum touches, and all the mechanisms of destruction that have been involved in climate science, wrapped up in communism to destroy the world as we know it. Trump to go out there as that hellhound, resurrected, saved by the hand of God. The armor of God was around him, and he wasn't going to waste the opportunity. Melania Trump certainly hasn't wasted it, and she's displayed her support of her husband's return to the presidency by her attire on that inauguration day. Clear choice. The black hat with a white band. And then when they did their ball after the swearing in, and they were at the balls later that night, it was a white outfit with a little tinge of black to show that always, if they have to come back and have revenge, they offer peace, love, and harmony and unity. But if we ever have to put on the black hat, we'll put the black hat on and seek justice. It was quite a telling story from fashion for Melania Trump. Very pointed And Trump, obviously, they talked about this, and he knows his role. He knows this opportunity, and he has put on the armor of God, and he's bringing justice. And he went to the people who were most vicious in the world and essentially lectured to them about how they're going to support him, they're going to love him, they're going to do whatever he tells them to do, just like the Clint Eastwood character in High Plains Drifter did in that town. And they're going to like it, they're going to love him for it, and he's going to bring justice no matter what schemes they come up with. It's going to bring it to everybody's doorstep. And those who are villainous, who have plotted and schemed and went out and killed Sheriff Duncan, they're all going to find their demise, and there's nothing they can do to hide from it, because President Trump, just like the Sheriff Duncan character, the ghost in the movie High Plains Drifter, has the armor of God behind him and the justice to inflict it. And that's the reality of what that Davos speech was all about. And it was a wonderful, wonderful speech, wonderful opportunity, and a great point in human history that we're all lucky to witness. And I think we should be very happy to know that Trump has been willing to put on this armor of God. Again, I'm from personal experience. I know how revealing that is, but you still have to have the courage to put it on and to say, I'm going to trust that I'm going to do what I need to do, and I'm going to trust that the armor of God's there to protect me from whatever happens. And when you get evidence of that, and you go through a major crisis where your life is about to be completely destroyed and taken away from you, with the possibility of death, and then you walk away from a major thing, assassination attempt, a major car crash, plots and schemes that are trying to end your existence, and you still find you can go to bed at night and sleep like a baby, you find yourself in a position of freedom that few people ever get to experience in life. And you find that you're no longer afraid of anything that anybody can do to you. And once you no longer fear them, they have no power over you, which is kind of the point of High Plains Drifter. Here was this guy, no one could understand why he came to town, what he was there for, why he was there. He wasn't afraid of anything or anybody. That's why they wanted to hire him as a gunman to protect themselves from these criminals that were about to be released from jail that were going to come and seek revenge on the entire town. Here's a guy who had no fear about anything, and no one understood why. But at the end of the movie, you find out that he was a ghost. He's the ghost of Sheriff Duncan, and he came there for revenge. And they plotted and schemed for their own downfall by utilizing him for their own selfish efforts. And that was how the revenge was inflicted. And that's exactly what's going on in Davos. That's exactly what's going on with all these people in the United States that have tried to destroy Trump's first administration. And Melania Trump clearly knows it, because she dressed up to be the executioner, essentially, of justice, to inflict righteousness to everybody who has been suppressed by all these same characters. The shoes on the other foot. Justice is now at everybody's doorsteps, and the fate of the bad there's nothing they can do to hide from it, because the armor of God has protected President Trump and delivered him for what we're about to see. And he knows it, and he wasn't buckling down from it at all, and he certainly exhibited it to all the criminals and thugs and scumbags of Davos, and put an end to their schemes that have long brought misery to everybody everywhere. And now we can look forward to many years now of prosperity and watching those same criminals run and hide from the crimes that they know they committed, and they have to try and hide it behind a friendly face and try to appease the power that Trump has now acquired because we gave it back to him, and there's nothing they can do to stop it. And that's a wonderful thing. Love it. Anyway, it's Rich Hoffman here. Share, subscribe, make tomorrow a better day. If you haven't read my book, The Gunfighter's Guide to Business, I think you'll love it. It's a great day. See you later.